Yeah, so hi guys. I think most of you are probably aware of Glenn Maxwell's fantastic knock when he scored a double century in this World Cup. Phenomenal knock, very entertaining. No one would have expected that he would have played that kind of knock in that situation, probably including himself. Yes, a lot of people were claiming that it's the greatest World Cup innings so far. So that's a huge statement, right? Because there are a lot of great World Cup innings. I'm not sure if the statement is true. I'm going to list out all my arguments for why that statement is true, and then I'm going to list out all the reasons why it's not true. So first, why is Maxwell's double century the greatest World Cup innings of all? Well, first of all, it's a double century. So that itself is a special thing, right? Like hitting a double century in a World Cup is just it's special. It's not something that happens very often. And in that particular situation, you have to consider so many factors, right? So Australia were in a really bad situation when Maxwell came in to bat, and very quickly wickets fell, and it basically became a hopeless situation. Like nobody in the Australian team would have expected to win that match. They would have almost given up. But Maxwell just did not give up. Like he had a never give up attitude till the end. So that was a fantastic thing. And you have to consider the fact that Maxwell is not a proper batsman. He's a bits and pieces all rounder. Like he's not exactly known for his batting average. He's not a test playing batsman. Recently he's become pretty good at bowling, but he wasn't that good at bowling before. So he was mainly known for his boundary hitter and someone who can score runs pretty quickly. But playing an innings like that was completely unexpected and special. And the fact that he had some kind of physical issues, like he had a cramp and that restricted his movement. He couldn't use his feet, like he couldn't move in the crease, and he had to practically just stay in the same position, and he couldn't run between the wickets, no singles, just fours and sixes. So many disadvantages, and the fact that he was playing with Pat Cummins on the other side, who's not a batsman, so he could get out anytime, and the wickets could fall and they could get all out, and all his effort would have gone in vain. So all these factors combined with the fact that it's a World Cup situation, and the fact that if they win that match, they would be qualified for the knockout matches, and if they hadn't won that match, being qualified for the knockout matches would have been much harder than it was. So much pressure on him, so many disadvantages, yet he played the knock that he played. So those are my best arguments for why Maxwell's innings was the greatest World Cup innings of all. So now the arguments against it. Okay. First thing is context, right? So claiming that a particular innings is the greatest of all time, the ODI World Cup has been happening for a while. So there are so many great World Cup innings. Unless you know about all of them or most of them, and you've considered all of them and then come to the conclusion that this is in fact the best, you don't really know what you're talking about. Because like couple days 175, 1983 World Cup, the World Cup that India won. Semi-final. That was also very phenomenal. It was also single-handed with the bowler at the other end, and Kapil Dev just single-handedly winning the match. It isn't recorded. We can't see it, but we can only know about it from people who have watched it and talk about it. But it's one of the greatest World Cup innings of all time. And Vivian Richards 138 and Sourav Ganguly's 183. Virat Kohli's 2016 T20 World Cup innings against Pakistan. Dhoni's innings in 2011 World Cup final. Gambhir's innings. There have been so many great knocks in World Cup. So you can't just ignore all of them and focus on this, because this is something recent and is something that's on everyone's mind. You have to consider all those innings and then come to the conclusion, because it's not just about numbers, it's about the context. Like how much pressure was on the batsman, what were the stakes, what was that to lose and what was that to win, and how difficult was it for the batsman mentally and physically. You have to consider all these factors. What was the pitch like at that day, how was the bowling team, like how were the partners of the batsman, was it not where the partner of the batsman is someone who can bat There are so many factors to consider. I don't think we can come to the conclusion that Maxwell's innings is the GOAT. Those would be my arguments against the notion that Maxwell's innings was a GOAT. But in reality, I think only time will tell.